that sunshine is wonderful to see. It warms things very nicely. But when it comes to retaining the warmth in our homes, Maine continues to face a number of challenges there. Energy efficiency taking center stage here in the city of Bangor. And joining us to talk a little bit about that, Bangor's Mayor Sean Faircloth in the studios this morning. Good morning, sir.
Great to be with you.
It's a pleasure to have you back. What transpired here? This is something that has been a long time effort, sort of come to fruition at this week's council meeting.
Right.
There is some funding that's now available to serve as a pilot project for helping residents of Bangor improve their levels of energy efficiency?
Yeah, basically save money. If you're a Bangor homeowner, this will be an opportunity to save money. With this energy efficiency incentive, an average Bangor homeowner, say you own a, $150,000 house, which is about the median for Bangor homeowners, you could get a energy audit with an air sealing. It's about a $600 value, and you could get it for about $100 because we take the energy efficiency, the efficiency main incentive, and then the city of Bangor would boost that, in this case by about $100. So it would cost you, the homeowner, about $100. And there's no guarantees with any house. There's no certainty because each house is individual. But on average, and in the main, talking to experts, most people would regain their $100 investment in the first winter and perhaps even surpass it, so that by the time you hit the second winter, you are in the black. You are saving money throughout. So it's really a way to put money in the pockets of Bangor homeowners. And something I agree with the governor about is that we do face energy cost challenges, and here's a specific way to save your average homeowner money.
And this isn't like some difficult concept for people to grasp. There's nothing esoteric about this. This is very simple, straightforward, some of the most basic steps that a homeowner can take in order to essentially button things up a little bit.
Exactly. It's a very logical and the first logical thing you can do. I do want to specifically give great credit to Councilor Josh Pleward. He held a forum last May, almost a year ago.
We spoke to him in the lead up to that forum.
Yes, and excellent work by Councilor Pleward. And I attended the entire day of that forum. It was a nice, warm, sunny day, and part of me was thinking I'd rather go on a hike, but I thought this is really important public policy, and I participated in it. And as a result of his efforts, conjoined with this energy incentive is a solar initiative, which basically is solar bundling. That is to say, you bundle people who want to purchase solar panels as customers. That allows someone who's selling solar panels to lower their per unit cost, and so people can get a great deal. So we'll be the city of Bangor, and this will be led by the city of Bangor staff and working with Efficiency Maine. But also with this bundling of customers, people can get a deal on solar panels. And that, by the way, is for the area. We'll be bundling customers, and this is a volunteer group doing this, bundling customers for that area. So that's a great step forward. But with this energy incentive, think of it as a menu, sort of a Chinese menu of options. So maybe you think to yourself, solar panels, even with the tax credit and even with other lowering of costs through the bundling, that it's still a pretty significant capital outlay. And you could say, well, for $100, I can get an energy audit, which gives me a roadmap to how to insulate and weatherize my house. It's an excellent roadmap to the future, but also get the air sealing in the same stroke with only $100 investment. So it's really a fantastic opportunity, and it serves a very important competitive role for the city of Bangor. The reality is that Maine has houses built before 1940 about twice the rate of the national average. Mm-hmm. A lot of them, a little bit creaky, a little bit windy on the inside. And so we need to modernize our housing stock as a whole to make Bangor more attractive as a place to live. This is going to help significantly with accomplishing that goal. Keep the beautiful look of the older homes, but modernize them so when somebody from Pennsylvania or California is thinking about living here, they look at the winter heating costs from the real estate agent that is required to show them that information and find, this house has been buttoned up and it's not going to cost me as much as it otherwise would.
That's a key component here. Maine, we hear again and again and again about the aging infrastructure of our state. That absolutely applies to our housing stock, and to see exactly where Bangor sort of fits in to that lengthy list of aging homes across the state. Sounds like we're a bit behind the curve as far as aging
that was
homes.
The statewide average number I gave you. So Maine has approximately twice the number of homes built before 1940 of the national average. And by the way, Bangor's housing stock is older even than that.
Yes.
So we have a long way to go. But it's a great selling point. I have a friend around the corner from me who's from California, from the Silicon Valley area, actually. And to him, where he grew up in kind of, the anonymous, generic housing tracts, the homes that a lot of times native Mainers kind of walk by without even thinking about, he goes, what beauty, what character,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so it can be a selling point, but weatherization is critically important. I want us to be the most innovative city, the most caring city. That's how I think we stand out. I want us to compete with places like Asheville, North Carolina, and Burlington, Vermont. I think that will help us with economic development, and this will help people in their pocketbooks.
Yeah, with regard to that help in the pocketbooks, you mentioned that that roadmap that can be created by virtue of an energy audit.
Yes.
Oftentimes, it is a somewhat daunting task. People can be somewhat overwhelmed by the notion, especially if they have already identified on their own, well, I know that this needs to be done, and I know that that really ought to be done, and sort of my long-range plan is maybe I could address this. If you bring in somebody who's qualified, somebody who understands exactly how all of these sort of nagging projects around the home directly impact your energy expenditures, they can prioritize for you in a way that, they can do, and you simply can't because of their understanding, their expertise within the field.
Oh, yeah.
And
even looking at the airflow in the house, they can say, all right, this is where the warm air is going out and the cold air is coming in. And so they can prioritize for you. And again, under this program, which will be implemented later this year, you put in $100 as a Bangor homeowner, and you get back the energy audit and an air sealing. So save money on the deal and have a roadmap for the future. So maybe you say, well, I'll do this air sealing first, and then later I do an insulation. And think of this also, we have a lot of seniors in our community,
Yes.
a lot of people on fixed incomes. And I'd encourage people who are active in the community, who are volunteers, whether they're involved in AARP or any other organization, to really look at this project. Because if you're on a fixed income, this is an opportunity to do something that can save you money and where you don't have a giant capital outlay up front. So it can allow a lot of seniors to, frankly, age in place, which is, what we're working towards. So fewer have to go to assisted living facilities. This gives a chance for people to say, I can afford to live here more long term.
So this is something that increases a level of comfort, a level of safety, and can indeed extend the period of time that an aging Mainer can remain in their own home. And that's something that we've heard again and again is hugely important to people, being able to age comfortably and gracefully within their own home.
This is really important for seniors. In fact, more important than when I initially brought this proposal forward. It's been really underscored to me that a lot of seniors, frankly, because they can't afford it, will hold the temperature down in their homes or maybe don't have the proper insulation or air sealing. And it can, and this expert was talking about it, saying it can sometimes be endangering for some seniors and certainly uncomfortable and not the way one would want to spend one's senior years. So here for $100 investment, you can get a payback on that investment probably in the first year and have a roadmap to the future and be more comfortable in your home and be able to age in place for a longer time. So it's great for our seniors, but it's also great for anyone. What this thing is a real opportunity no matter what your income range. If you've got the ability to get those solar panels, go for it, and that will be an opportunity as part of a big energy forum that the city will be holding later this year. But also, if maybe you can't afford that, it provides a menu of opportunities that can save you money.
In addition to saving money, increasing a person's comfort in their homes, there's also an air quality issue that's
Correct.
tied to this. And oftentimes people are unaware of the notion that indoor air quality routinely tests to prove to be lower than outdoor air quality. We hear all the time about outdoor air quality and, oh my gosh, pollution and smog and having indexes becoming part of our weather forecasts now with regard to outdoor air quality, but it's indoor air quality that creates more issues for people.
Right. There's a fellow, Matt Damon, who's engaged in this business, who speaks to this often about the air quality issues, particularly for seniors, children with asthma, other people with illnesses, that it can be really helpful to go through an energy audit and weatherization process. Certainly heat pumps can help with this as well. And that raises another point. We talk about Matt Damon. There's many others in our community, that this project of the city is going to help businesses locally. It's going to put money into this community, circulating money in this community, so that the citizen, the homeowner in Bangor, saves money. But so does, in fact, we see people who are local businesses successful with this. So that's a really exciting thing. You know, we see a lot of stasis, a lot of gridlock at the federal level. We see a lot of gridlock at the state level. I'm not even going to bother with who's to blame, but I'm just saying, unfortunately, that's I think, an apparent reality, and has been for a while, and unfortunately maybe for a while to come. So I think it's really incumbent upon cities to lead, and Bangor needs to be a leader. I view us as wanting to be as competitive as we possibly can be, so that we're one of the cool cities and perceived as such as Asheville is or Burlington, Vermont is, and I think we are on the way there, and we can do even more, and this is part of it.
$140,000 as an initial investment. It is a pilot program. We need to have people taking advantage of this and utilizing this unique opportunity, so that we can then get additional data, that we can show that, yeah, you know what? This is working. It is moving us in the right direction. It is having all of these beneficial impacts that have been laid out as potential benefits. Because that gives us an opportunity to expand this moving forward, saving even more money for even more people in Bangor.
Exactly. I was really excited that the city the city council unanimously supported this the other night.
Congratulations on getting that support.
Well, what I think it offers is an early opportunity. So the next winter heating season is quite a few months off. So the city's going to lead up, with Efficiency Maine taking a lead role, obviously, in putting together an energy forum. And I encourage your listeners, if you're involved in a neighborhood group, if you're involved in a seniors group, whatever the case may be, we don't have a date set yet for this, but we want people to participate in this. We have Professor Klein from University of Maine. She works on issues like this, energy efficiency issues like this, and she's going to have her students involved in both helping to make people aware of this, but also then, as you were pointing out, analyzing who participates. Because here's the key. In Bangor, in recent years, we have about 200 or so folks a year who participate in the Efficiency Maine incentives that currently exist. Mm-hmm. Now, energy costs, as we know, have decreased, so people are maybe not prioritizing that as much as they would in earlier years. But this is the time to really make that investment while you can. And if we can get that 200 number up to 300 or 400 people a year, so that's where this pilot project comes in, and analyze, all right, are we getting more people involved? Because for me, I very much want the person who has the disposable income to get those solar panels.
Yes.
But I also want, say you're in a more moderate income neighborhood, what a lot of studies show is that as far as these energy efficiency measures, it tends to be sometimes the folks who are more environmentally conscious, more high income sometimes, who participate. And that's great. But I want to see, as mayor of Bangor, I want to see more of our moderate income people participate. So I really want to get involved with community groups, being aware of this, being aware that there are really affordable opportunities for this. So this forum will certainly be led by Efficiency Maine and by the city, but I want to see lots of community groups participate, get the word out, so that Bangor becomes a true national leader in this regard.
You know, we've spoken on the program before with you and also with other members of the Bangor City Council. You mentioned gridlock, and I understand. Let's not go down that road. It's too easy to get sucked into that and become very sort of negative with regard to the conversation about the fact that things have ground to a halt in many ways at the federal level. We've seen it creeping down to the state level as well, and a lot of concerns about partisanship getting in the way of real progress and real appropriate measures being implemented when it comes to public policy. This is a perfect opportunity at the municipal level for the city of Bangor to show how something like this can have a positive impact in all of the areas that you've laid out here this morning. we need to have residents now stepping up and taking advantage and buying into that process and sharing their experiences with other people. If somebody wants to learn more about this, how do they go about finding out? Where do I go to learn how I can get this great deal?
Well, I tell you, we're still early in the process because it just passed the other day. Mm-hmm. So the city's going to be going to Efficiency Maine and coordinating a forum, and then the actual incentives probably won't be available for quite a few weeks and months.
Okay.
But when we do have that, you'll have it available to you well before the next heating season. And so we'll have a lot of planning stages. So what I encourage your listeners right now, if they're involved in any community groups or any type of organizations that say, I'm interested in this, either contact me. And again, when we get that forum coordinated with Efficiency Maine, then we want to invite those groups to participate, publicize, and be involved. You know, as you said about the gridlock at other levels of government, there's a really interesting series of articles in the Atlantic magazine by James Fallows, who traveled around the United States, and he noted how most Americans, doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat, a lot of times they look around at government at higher levels and they just throw up their hands. They're just sick of it. And where there's optimism, where people are seeing optimism, as Fallows writes in this series, is with cities. And it's not every city. It's cities that are taking that sort of, we're going to rise above this partisanship approach. I mean, Bangor City Council is nonpartisan. People know who's people's political parties are. But I'm really honored to follow, for instance, Mayor Nelson Durgan, who I think, in his other life happens to be a registered Republican, but he's a very reasonable guy. He voted for this measure. He recognizes the value to seniors. He's someone who's a real leader in moving this community forward, and really an example to us all. I mean, I don't think 80's far off for Mayor Durgan, and he's someone who's just very active and involved in the future of this community. And that's what I'm excited about, is this is just one more step. I'm working on a project called Innovative Neighborhoods that sort of is in line with that James Fallows piece. How do you make a city one of the most innovative cities in America, which is what I see as a goal for us in the city of Bangor. And this is one step, and you're going to see more steps coming.
Bangor Mayor Sean Faircloth, your enthusiasm about this is readily apparent, and I think we need to see a whole lot more of that amongst the residents of the city of Bangor. I appreciate your time this morning, and I hope you'll continue to bring us this information, especially as we move closer to the arrangement of that forum and some additional conversations with the folks at Efficiency Maine.
Can I just leave you with one additional thought about this? I've really focused on this in terms of saving people, average homeowners, money, and it will do that. But there is an additional factor. Since I proposed this, March 22, a report came from James Hansen. He's the guy who in 1988 warned Congress about global warming and was dismissed at the time. He turned out to be right, as we know. But he talks about in his new report that came out March 22 about destabilized governments in this century, waves of refugees in this century. And then March 30th, a new report came out talking about how we may see 3 to 6 foot rise in sea levels in this century. And you're talking about, people talk about Syrian refugees. We're talking about Shanghai, Hong Kong, Sydney, London, Venice, New Orleans, Miami, and New York, potentially underwater, by the end of the century, literally. So we're not out. Not at all. The city of Bangor can't change the world. But what we can do is say we're going to step up.
Bangor Mayor Sean Faircloth, thanks for being here.
Thank you.